Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gods? Where is my Hercules to help me fight the odds? Isn't there a white knight somewhere for me? Late at night I toss and turn and dream of what I need. I need a hero, holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong, he's gotta be fast, gotta be ready to fight. I need a hero, I'm holding out for a hero till the morning.
Larry is a friend of mine and a cancer patient and a cancer survivor, and he's called up on the Road Warriors to come out here and refurbish his beautiful 1973 Bristol sailboat, because he can't do it now. So that's what we're doing. We are sanding the deck, making her look pretty. I'm gonna call her Jenny. I got 12 Jennies. So this is how we're rolling. The Road Warriors are out here making her pretty and seaworthy. She is seaworthy. She's just a little rougher. She's a diamond in the rough.
I need a hero, holding out for a hero till the end of the night.
Thing from Runner's World. It's clipped out. It's right there.
Oh, that's my wife. She's training for Boston, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what's the most memorable marathon that you've done, and where was it at?
It was probably Maine Coast. And before Bush got elected, they used to let us do 2 laps through Kennebunkport and then finish it in Biddeford. And I was sitting at the pub on a Friday afternoon up in Biddeford, because I lived in Boston. I trained in Boston at the time and worked there. And some guys came in from Connecticut. They were all my running buddies. I said, well, what the fuck are you guys doing here? There's a marathon tomorrow. And I'm slugging down a beer, and I said, oh shit, I'm half in the bag. I said, well, I'm gonna run it tomorrow. So I show up.
Yo, it's like
the owner of the pub, after I had dinner, he said, how about an after dinner drink? And of course that turned into about 3. And he said, you know, I'm about 8 miles into the race. Coming by, we'll have breakfast ready. You bail on the race and leave your buddies to hang. So I go running by his house. I'm feeling really shitty. And so I run over, grab a cup of coffee, slug it down, and I caught up to my buddies again.
What?
Then when we get to the halfway point, I'm saying, wait, I'm still hanging with them. So I hung there, and then it started to pour. Rain like a bitch, the wind coming off the ocean as we're going up to Biddeford. And they had gotten away from me again, almost out of sight. And little by little, this long, long hill, it went for probably half a mile or so. I just leaned into it, and by the time I got to the hill, I said, hey, wait a minute, they're not getting away. And the finish, I have a photo finish of me crossing the line, and the 5 of them spaced out about 100 yards apart all the way back, and my shoes are untied at that point, and I wouldn't stop to tie them.
That's
They
awesome.
were soaked.
That is great.
And they said, no, you can't do this.
How'd you feel, Larry?
I was shot.
Yeah.
See, when you don't train,
Yeah.
you feel shot. The first time I had rigor mortis that I ever ran when I wasn't trained for. That one, because just being stupid, I had rigor mortis and cold and wet, and they were all going out to party, and they felt great. You know, they had trained for it and everything. Right. I said, no, not for me. I had a young lady with me from Boston, a nurse. I was single at the time.
Right.
Yeah. And it was they come back and they're knocking on my door, and it was open, and here I am sitting with the gal, we're half naked, and he had a bottle of wine and she's smoking a joint. And they said, "No, was this before or after the race?" I said, "Both."
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
That was a little unorthodox.
So
it wasn't until later on that I really got serious about what I was doing.
On the most memorable race that you just talked about, what was your time coming in where the guys were staggered behind you there?
Oh, it was probably around page 13, 17, something like that.
See, I would love that time actually.
Wait, 13 through 17?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And you didn't even train?
Well, I hadn't trained for that. I had been training, but they caught me totally by surprise.
The first marathon you ever ran, what was your time?
It was New York. And I had strep throat, went to the doctor a week before the race. He said, "Ain't no way you're running a race." And he gives me some shots that I didn't know were depleting my vitamin C. And we get down there, and it was windy and cold. The tent had blown down at out in Staten Island at Fort Hamilton. So there was no shelter. It was blowing like yesterday. And my buddies all say, "Well, just take your time and finish, Lau. We know you're in rough shape." And it was actually after I got in on a lottery that year. So when I said they let me in, I said, "I got it."
I just looked at that in the email. That was great.
Ooh, especially the one without the shirts. Whoa.
Wait, I didn't get one without shirts. There was one without shirts?
Yeah.
Was it just like in a string of those?
Yeah.
Man and Bud, your boat's next.
Who's Man and Bud?
AJ's mom and dad. For a small fee. Unlimited sailing access. And a free tank of gas to get down there.
Yep, you're never getting that.
Huh?
I'm kidding.
What'd you say?
I said, yep, you're never getting that.
And I've got 2 workers that work for pretty much sailing board and food. I'm just saying. First-hand crew. Willing to do anything. You say jump over, they'll jump over. All right, day 3. It's Wednesday, January. Is it the 3rd or the 4th or what? 4th. Did a 15-mile day yesterday and worked. All I do is videotape and manage. I don't do any of the work.
But it wasn't a pretty sight.
Well, yeah, still
But,
cool though.
But I had the opportunity, I was repping New Balance to the exchanges, and I sold more shoes than Nike at the exchanges I was in.
Wow.
Because I get it in the uniform shop, and I'd be the only shoe, that wasn't a dress shoe in the uniform shop.
Yeah.
And I'd have all the whips and jar heads. I mean, quad E's, nothing for these fuckers from the South. They got feet 13 quad E.
Yeah, right.
I can get it for you. You know, so I was kind of a hero down at Quantico and Henderson Hall and up in Connecticut at the Coast Guard. And in New London, Admiral Giordano and I hit it off one day. We were running along, and he says, Larry, whatever you need, I will take care of. I said, hey, do you think we can get your basketball team wearing New Balance? Done. You know?
Awesome. Oh my God,
so I called
cool.
Jim Davis and say, Jim, I know I don't get paid by you, but we got to get your rep down here to fit the guys for shoes. He said, no, we've been trying for years to get them. I said, just got to go running with Admiral Giordano.
That is cool.
Yeah, we had all kinds of great stories back then, but it wasn't a serious thing. I had the ability, but I didn't focus on it, you know. My buddies were running 70, 80, 90 miles a week, and then we'd show up at a 10K, and it was nip and tuck right at the finish line, even with all their training. You know.
So he wasn't, they were, and he was still...
I was still putting in 35 or so a week.
But his buddies were seriously training, and he was still
they tell
pushing
stories.
him to the hilt.
They tell stories. They say, because they knew what I was doing, because they'd be on the way running by and they'd stop in the pub I hung out in. I said, I'm getting warmed up, guys. I'll be out soon.
Sounds like I've done the reciprocation of what you're doing.
But it was super self-destructive. You know, we didn't have sports drinks. I had D-Fizz Coca-Cola and a bag of salted pretzels for my fluid retention.
For him.
Well, yeah, you retain one part fluid for every part of the, other stuff. You gotta do it the day before. You can't just do it. So I didn't. Once I learned how to hydrate properly and curtail my.
What's like your best when you did train and you did take it serious that one marathon? What was like your best method for hydration?
Well, I had water stops all along the way, you know.
Well, before like
well,
the
it was
week
pretty much
or the day.
It was either water, D-Fizz, Coke, or still drink.
D-Fizz, so they took the
Yeah, and you couldn't use Diet Coke because it doesn't have citric acid in it.
They still make those? They still make D-Fizz?
No, you shake it up and let let it fizz
Oh.
out. You know.
So
Because I didn't need the carbonation, the gases and stuff.
So my next question is, what's the next run you want to do when you're ready? You got one in mind?
Yeah, I probably won't run something with my wife. Yeah, she's been such a supporter.
Anything in particular?
It depends what time of year it is. If it's
Where have all the good men gone?
We do have a standing offer to go out for a sail. When Larry feels like. Alright, so momentarily, Larry, who is a mesothelioma patient and survivor, is donating to the Road Warriors cause, and he also runs a non-profit corporation called Miles for Meso, and has invited us to go to his symposium on February 11th, which is the same day that we're holding an event. So we're gonna do both, and I think maybe even on the 12th we may go to his race. So excited about that. All done?
Be larger than life, larger than this life.